It all started last month. The worst thing that ever happened in my life. I'm lucky to still be here today. I suppose I should back up, however. It was a sunny April day, and I awoken in my bed as usual. I went outside to check the mail, seeing as it was noon already. I was hungover too, mind you. As I looked in the mailbox, I saw the package. There was no stamp or anything on it. I didn't quite understand who put this in my mailbox. I brought it inside to check it out. The package was about 1 foot long and 4 inches tall. I cut it open with a box cutter and laid it on the kitchen table. When I was done, I lifted the cardboard off carefully and looked inside. I rubbed my eyes to see if what I was looking at was really there. Inside the box was a china doll. The doll was no bigger than 6 inches long. It resembled a woman about 30 or so years old. Her hair was black and her skin was pale white. The doll's face was partially covered by a red hood, but I could tell it had a happy expression. I wondered if this was some kind of prank. I called my friends and asked if this was a joke, but they had no clue what I was talking about. I left the doll laying on the table and I left to get a few groceries. When I returned, I noticed the doll was laying on the floor of the living room. This was strange. I had left my door locked. I laughed at the thought of a ghost doll and went about my business. Later that night, I had awful nightmares about the doll crying at the end of my bed. The tears were blood red and smelled like iron. My body was frozen in place. When I woke in the morning, I was in a cold sweat. I sat up in my bed and cringed in horror. On the floor at the end of my bed lay the doll with a crying expression on its face. I sure as hell knew something was wrong now. The doll had a happy expression yesterday. I decided the best thing to do is get rid of this thing. I threw it in the trash and tried to forget about this whole mess. I returned from the bar one night and saw what I could only explain as the most horrible thing I've ever laid my eyes on. There the doll sat staring at me with a wicked devilish grin. Beside the doll on the counter lay a bleeding human heart. I vomited on the floor and got very dizzy. This doll was from hell. I took the doll outside and laid it in the grass. I grabbed a rock and raised it high above the doll. Right when I was about to smash this thing to pieces, I felt sharp pains in both my arms and realized my bones had internally snapped. The doll's black magic had taken control of me. The doll was impossible to destroy. The rock I had raised in the air dropped on my head and knocked me out. I woke in the back of an ambulance. I couldn't move my arms. The ambulance radio spoke of a garbage man whose heart had been ripped out by a wild dog of some sort. I finally recovered enough to go back home. I never saw the doll again. I still dream of it crying at my bedside every night, however. Good thing they are just dreams.